Call the meeting to order, and please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Never let us forget the meaning of that pledge. Roll call, please.
Mayor Nelson, Councilman McIntosh.
Here.
Councilman Martin,
Here.
Councilman Slachta, Councilman Simmons, Councilman Gibson.
Here.
Councilman Lockhart.
Here. Thank you. Just a note to the public, this is not a hearing on whether or not the mine should continue mining. The meeting today is on whether this hearing should be continued further. So there is a distinct difference between the actual meaning of this zoning meeting today. And Counselor, if I've said that incorrectly, please tell me, but otherwise proceed with the case, please.
Thank you. This is a zoning ordinance of the City of Bonita Springs, Florida, considering a request by Bonita Grand Properties LP to amend Lee County Zoning Resolution Number 98-071 as subsequently amended to extend the termination date of mining from May 27, 2020 to May 27, 2030 on land located at 25501 Bonita Grand Drive, Bonita Springs, Florida 34135 on 1,268 more or less acres, providing for an effective date. This is the second reading of the ordinance. Council, you are aware that I received a letter from Attorney Russell Schropp dated November 11th requesting a continuance of the zoning hearing that was scheduled for today. The request is to May 16, 2016. There's a typo in the letter. It does say April 18th, but after consultation with staff, he did agree to that change. For applicant-initiated continuances, we have a land development code regulation that specifically allows an applicant is entitled to one continuance before each decision-making body, which you are one decision-making body, or the final decision-making body, as a matter of right. So this is one where there's no discretion on the part of council. Council does need to grant a continuance. There might be a question as to the date, but May 16th was to accommodate community development staff for personal reasons.
Okay, thank you. So just once again, this is not whether or not they should continue mining. This is a question of whether the case of their being able to continue mining should be continued to May 18th? Date certain?
Correct.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much.
May 16th.
16th, I'm sorry. Thank you. Okay, let's go ahead. If there's public comment, and this is contained to the people who were parties of record who spoke at the zoning hearing, and I was at that zoning hearing, so I'll know. Let's go ahead and see if any of those people are interested in talking about continuing the case, not continuing mining, continuing the case. Peter O'Flynn. Patrick McCourt. Good morning, Mr. McCourt.
For the record, Patrick McCourt. I wasn't aware of this change. I walked in here this morning, so it's kind of a bit of a surprise. But I think my feeling is exactly the same. When I spoke before the zoning board, I gave you a lot of good reasons why I thought this should not be, mining should not continue out there. I'm not going to drag you through all of that this morning. I'm simply going to say that I tried very hard to come up with a reason why you should vote in favor of this. And the only reason I can think of is because you're going to make a lot of money for that mine. So I recommend you don't do it.
Thank you. You can drag us through it later,
On the
Mr.
continuance.
McCourt. Martha Simons, Miss Patty Whitehead, John Konikowski.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Konwinski. I apologize, sir. I'm used to another citizen. Welcome.
John
Welcome.
Konwinski, and I live at Citrus Park. I've been coming down since about the time the city was incorporated. I am now a registered voter and a Florida resident.
Welcome.
I too am surprised by the fact that you don't want to take any testimony against the mine request. You're just postponing this at the last minute until May 16th, is that correct?
Counselor?
Right. This is not council's doing. This is the applicant, and the applicant is entitled as a matter of right per our land development code to have one continuance, just like staff has a right to one continuance as a matter of right.
Well, may I address the council anyway?
Absolutely, yeah.
I will hopefully be here to speak next time you hold a hearing, but I'm a little bit dismayed by the way this has gone. You gave notice in October for the hearing at the zoning board. You didn't post the report, allegedly, because it was too large. And the snowbirds aren't here at that time. A lot of them have investments here. They're arriving, but your notice precludes them from speaking at this hearing, which has now been changed, obviously. But it precludes them from speaking unless they spoke at the zoning board. Now, where I come from, the Freedom of Information and Open Meetings Act in Michigan would not allow you to preclude such people addressing you on this matter. Any item before a public body in Michigan is open to reasonable time for public comment to address any item on the agenda. Now you're putting it off till May 16th, apparently at the request of the mine. Again, a lot of the snowbirds will be gone. They have investments here. Their property values are being depreciated. There are many reasons why I oppose this, and if you want me to speak on them today, I would do so. Otherwise, I'll have to wait, I guess.
It's
What's
your
your-
right, it's your right to speak. The issue in front of council today is whether to continue the case, not whether to continue
Okay,
mining.
if you vote no, then it's dead, right?
I'm
no.
not sure what your question
No.
is.
Okay.
No.
No, okay.
But it's a good
So,
question.
all right.
I'm going to give you some more time, sir.
Thank
but,
you.
But please recognize that this is about continuing the case and not continuing mining.
I
Okay.
brought a few notes and, okay, so this issue of blasting in near Citrus Park has been a problem for quite a while. Back in 2004, when there was damage to my unit, I had people come look at it. The former owners of the mine would send a representative, people from the park would look, and they would pay a painter to fix obvious cracks. They didn't fill in the cracks, but they tried to minimize how much they'd have to do in repairs. And at one time, we were told not to make repairs, take photos, submit a claim, and that these would be submitted periodically to the State Fire Marshal's office. We had a number of meetings with residents from Citrus Park and city administration, and I don't know if any of you were involved, but it was determined that the State Fire Marshal's office didn't really have jurisdiction. Apparently, the city did. They quit taking such claims. But they came back with the result of these meetings being, this will end in 2018, this blasting, and we will have a nice residential community to our east that we will be glad is there. Somehow, at the hearing at the zoning board, I learned that through some action of the governor's office, this date has been extended till 2020. I don't know if that's true. Another person disputed that, but we can't wait for the end of this blasting. Now, you might wonder what it does. Well, the jolts vary in their intensity. Windows crack, plaster cracks, cement cracks, brick foundations crack where people put in flower beds, and it doesn't crack at just the mortar. Sometimes it cracks right through the middle of the brick. The smaller jolts result in your wine glasses sounding like wind chimes. Wall hangings go askew. I had a pewter statue that was standing up when I came back from Michigan this fall. It was falling on its nose. Its nose is flat. There are impacts on wildlife, on potential impacts on aquifer, water supply, property values. It diminishes your tax base. And one of the realtors spoke at the zoning board saying, there are people ready to invest if this project ever stops, and your tax base will go up. They want to put money into this because it's a nice location. There's going to be a waterfront property. The quality of life is diminished if you live near this blasting. There's dust, there's noise, and there's all this other damage. This mine is a classic legal case of a nuisance. Now you're talking about putting a high school in our locale. I firmly would support that, but I think you're going to have damage to the construction. Your investment will be diminished. It'll have a shorter useful life if you allow this mine to continue blasting. So even though you're not going to do that today, I respectfully request that this city council deny this request for an extension when it comes up for you.
Thank you, sir. Thomas Gibbons. Mary Copeland. David Luciano. Linda Schwartz. Ron Pure. Fred Forbes. Dan Wagner. I think I saw Donna Stone. Donna? Miss Stone? And Ms. Stone, you weren't here when we started the hearing, but this is not about continuing mining today. This is about continuing the case to another date.
I agree.
Okay, fine, thank you.
Donna Stone. I live at Worthington Country Club in Bonita Springs. One of the things that I would like to see done in the next few months while we have this opportunity is I would like to see if an ordinance can be put onto Logan Boulevard so that no trucks are going to be allowed to travel on that, because it's going to be an absolute speedway for the trucks coming from the mine going over to the Immokalee area. As you know, there are a lot of houses that are extremely close to Logan Boulevard, and the starting and the stopping of those trucks, 550 a week, is going to really impose a hardship on those houses in San Remo. So I would really like for the city to be able to look into that to protect the citizens from the noise, from the pounding and the starting of the trucks at the light that will be going on to Bonita Beach Road. Also, it was brought up that we are going to look into having a high school possibly in the area that the trucks are traveling. We've heard testimony that trucks are traveling on East Terry even though they are not supposed to be. That really needs to be addressed. And also, the speed limit really needs to be addressed. I've had many residents contact me about trucks passing them at a traffic light because the car wasn't moving as fast as it would like, putting not only that passenger car but other cars in danger. There seems to be a lot of laxing as far as safety rules going on with the trucks right now. They're trying to get to their destination as fast as possible, and I think that is really endangering a lot of people. So I would really like for those issues to be addressed, as well as obviously I would like the land to be turned into, a good filter marsh, a nice reservoir, a park, and I do not want it extended until 2030. Thank you.
Thank you. Charlie Strader, pardon me. Carolyn Gallagher. Good morning, Ms. Gallagher.
Good morning. I'm a resident of Cedar Creek, as most people already know. I just have a couple of words, and they concern the Water Task Force 30-plus recommendations. Excuse me, I'm a little hoarse from allergies. We'll be dragging out another 6 months, and it will keep us from pursuing some of the water recommendations that include retention ponds and filter marshes and so on. The mine is in the DRGR area, and those were some of the things that were talked about in the recommendations about possibly doing. Now, we can continue to study, what to do out there, but we can't actually put a machine to the ground or anything to do any restoration or get started on any recommendations that concern that area. 6-month delay. I don't think that's a good thing. The other thing is, I have a question to you. I mean, what new information is going to appear in the next 6 months to help the city council make a decision? And what happens if you guys vote no? We ultimately going to be in the same place we are now? I realize they can't re-extend, but I'm just wondering. And the other thing is, I don't believe we have anything forcing us to renew this contract. So we have a comp plan that has a certain rules about how much can be built there and so on and so forth. And we have another contract that ends at a certain point. And I don't think we have any real legal push to have to renew it. So I'm wondering, why do we need 6 months to study it? That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Scott Duvall, Meg Jacobson, and Jane Truelove. Ms. Truelove.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I guess we aren't really talking about the mine extension.
Haven't stopped anybody yet.
So, the only thing I would say is, why continue? What's going to come out? What new information? And I agree with every other speaker and everything they said. Make a decision. Here's an opportunity. Prolonging it makes no sense. We were provided with no real rationale behind the mine's request, other than it's clear that they will be making a lot more money with all the building that's going on. So I think we should make a decision now, end the discussion, and close that mine down as soon as possible, and figure out what we're going to do with the DRGR. It's a wonderful space. There's plenty of opportunity, and why prolong the decision?
Okay. Thank you very much. I don't see any other parties of record. Is it appropriate for the applicant and agents to make a presentation, Counselor?
If Mr. Schwab wishes, yes.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity. Actually, I think it is incumbent on me to at least stand here and ask for the continuance, because that's what your ordinance requires, that we actually appear before you and request the continuance at the beginning of the agenda. So Audrey has covered, I think, the legal requirements and necessity. At this point, I'd simply request a continuance in this matter until the May zoning hearing before this council, which I believe is May 16th,
Correct.
2016. And that would be our formal request at this time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If
Coun-
may-
Counselor,
say
may I
something?
ask you to state again the legal requirements of this body?
Yes, I'd like to make a few comments.
Thank you,
also. First of all, I sent a memorandum to council on November 13th explaining that we have in our land development code a requirement that if somebody wants a continuance, they are entitled to a continuance as a matter of right. So council does need to grant continuance. Now, as to the timing of the continuance, if May 16 is too far, we can continue it less amount of time, recognizing that our problem is not a matter of needing it for a study. It's a matter of witness availability. I will be losing 2 of my community development witnesses for a period of time, a couple months. I believe starting in March. March would be the earliest, or the latest, so that's kind of scary too. So we didn't look at the February date, and we didn't think the January date was going to work. So it was really a witness availability, because I don't have people here to do the case. Now, we could have the second team, pitching for them, but I would prefer for the people who were actually involved in the case for the city to be involved. So that was the reason for the amount of time delay. So it is not to do another study. It is not to cause any other issues there. As to the thought of a delay, I don't see how changing from 2020 to 2030 and the discussion of that going a few months later would create a delay with anything dealing with Water Strategy Task Force. As to Mr. Winitsky and the state law on blasting, there's actually law, and I'll be happy to work with him on it. It's not the city's responsibility with blasting. We are preempted under state statute. it is something where I can give him the forms. It goes before Division of Administrative Hearing. As to also to his comment, this is a quasi-judicial hearing. This is not council sitting in their legislative capacity. It's city council sitting in their quasi-judicial. So in that regard, you can only hear from people who have presented before you, and that is one of our requirements in our code for these type of hearings, as well as state law that says that zoning will be treated as a quasi-judicial where comp plan is legislative. I know it's confusing to people. I have what I call the what-if scenario, and I hope I don't have to talk about it, but I figure it's better to talk about it. Every council member who has ever sat on this dais has heard this talk from me, and that is the part where you need to give everybody, in order to minimize liability, in order to reduce lawsuits, one of the main things is that you follow due process. We, as we would see in the cowboy movies, we don't have the hanging until after the trial. And in that regard, you have to follow our due process requirements, which is set out in state law, set out in case law, and also set out in our land development code. In this case, our land development code does have provisions for continuance, and in this case, the continuance does allow one continuance as a matter of right. If this was Mr. Schwab coming in for a continuance for number 2 or number 3, then it's a whole different ballgame. But for the first one, he is allowed as a matter of right. Now, if you wish to change the date, that's perfectly fine, but I would request that you consider the city's need for witness availability.
Thank you. When we go into council discussion, let's keep the topic to the question of continuing the case and not getting into the issue of continuing mining. If that's okay with council, please.
Deputy Mayor, may I also go into another item that was raised? I just want to clear the record for council's purposes. One of the participants brought up that the application was not available, and it was. And I wanted to also explain our public notice procedures. Our land development code requires that we give courtesy notice within 30 days to property owners within 375 feet. So that is why certain people were notified within 375 feet of the zoning board hearing. The letter that was given also stated that the packets would be available online, but they're also available hard copy at our office or the city clerk's office. Due to the size of the file, it is true that staff could not upload it to the website until the Thursday prior to the Tuesday hearing, but it was always available online or hard copy by the city clerk's office. We did apologize that we couldn't get up there sooner, but it was over 200 megabytes worth of data. So we do apologize, but it was always available hard copy at community development or with the city clerk. Property was also posted 15 days prior to the hearing, and an ad was also ran in the paper. So I just wanted to clarify that for the record and to let council know that due process and public notice was given.
Okay, thank you. Any other staff comment? Discussion, council? Michael?
Well, I mean, my main question is, why do we even have to vote on it? If it's something that we have to do, why can't it be done administratively?
Because it says that the person has to go before the council and make the request.
But I mean, if we're still kind of hand-tied to say yes, it's, why can't they just say, come up forward, say, you know, we want the continuance, and, okay.
It says they may appear before the board. I mean, if you decided not to vote on it, I could be looking at, or voting no, I could be looking at a lawsuit just on the fact that you're depriving the people of due process, because this is one where council has elected. Now, we could change the code to say no continuance shall be more than 3 months. We could change it so that a continuance, you know, can be processed administratively. But a lot of times, quite frankly, council, when we do ask, would you like us to handle things administratively, I've had council say no. We prefer to make those decisions.
But if it's a decision we have to say yes to, what's the difference?
The first one is
all
a
I'm
matter
saying.
of, it's in the code.
It's the same question was asked earlier. Law is law. You know, as much as we may not think it makes a lot of sense at times, we have to follow the law. But thank you. Peter?
Yeah, I was just going to say, tell me again, and I heard it, but I want to make sure I understand. They're requesting a May date, and then you were saying possibly we could do this in March?
No. Okay. They asked for an April date. We asked, because of witness availability, that it be extended out till May. We could go earlier, but understand that March would be problematic if as far as witness availability, if something happens.
So.
And I would be happy to brief you outside of the room.
I was just going to
but
say,
do
so
not
in
wanna
essence,
go
what we're
into-
doing is this sitting council is punting until there's a new council that will be sat in May.
If you would like to schedule for February or January, we can do so.
I would like to proceed along those lines.
Okay? Of course, I didn't bring my
Wait,
dates.
we're not done with discussion yet, I don't think.
Okay.
So if we can do that, I'm more comfortable proceeding along those lines, granting them their due process, but not punting the ball.
Any other comment? Bill?
Yes,
Yes.
I totally agree with Councilman Simmons. One other question, Audrey.
Audrey?
Yes.
Interesting, today you bring up the fact that you're losing staff down the road kind of thing. We've had no backup or information about that. Just today, you're telling us that some of the staff is going to be away.
I could have them stand up, but I
Well,
think this is a HIPAA issue.
Yeah, this is a personal medical question.
Okay,
so-
but the point is it would be nice to be informed beforehand as opposed to at a public hearing. Thank you.
Ms. Martin?
Well, we've granted continuances before, so I think that, it's not fair to an applicant to say that, no, we don't want to do it, obviously, and we are legally bound, and I truly believe that at the process is that any applicant should have the opportunity to present their case, so I'm obviously going to vote for the continuance.
Right. I'm looking for a motion.
And let me give you a
For a
couple.
date.
Okay, please.
Okay, a couple dates. Are you okay, March 14th, or that's kind of scary?
You want to wait for the dates until we decide if we're going to
Okay.
continue at the
All right, so
applicant's
at this po-
request?
Right, at this point, the request is for May 16, 2016, which was the one that staff had asked to go the extra mile.
Okay. Need a motion.
I'll make the motion to continue the case to the date that staff is comfortable with, which is May 16th, 2016.
Second? I'll second for discussion. Any more discussion? All right, roll call.
Councilmember McIntosh?
Aye.
Councilwoman Martin?
Aye.
Councilmember Gibson?
No.
Councilmember Simmons?
No.
Councilmember Longcart?
No.
Okay, the motion fails. Looking for another motion.
The other dates are January 20th or February 22nd.
Do you have a preference?
January 20th is a council day. It would be following the council hearing, and that was because I would be out of town if we had scheduled it for that Monday, which would be, and that's because of Martin Luther King. That's a Wednesday.
That'll be a long day.
And we have some other zoning cases going on, so you'll have some multiple hearings.
So
But-
February would be preferred?
I'm looking, well, I think January's easier on you. It could be done in January, just recognize you're going to have a very long day, January 20th. February 22nd is getting closer to the witness availability issue, but it's doable.
What
I
is
suggest we go in
what's the
January.
preferred date?
What's the preferred date? Sorry, yeah, I mean,
I
because
think-
either one's fine by me, but what's preferred?
I'm going to leave it to you.
Um,
And does the
Well,
applicant have any issue as to?
Well, government, we have a scheduled high school day on that day because that's a day, it's a teacher workshop day, and we have 40 kids come in that morning, scheduled to come in.
On January 20th?
22nd. Oh, January, I'm sorry.
January
Wrong day.
20th is on a Wednesday. It's not a Monday because that was the Martin Luther King weekend, and normally we push it out a week,
sorry,
but I
yeah.
was going to be out of town.
It's the wrong date. So we're looking at
February?
January 20th, is that what you said originally?
Mm-hmm.
And the second date is?
February 22nd.
That's the date we have,
And that was not, it's also not a Monday, and that's because, I'm sorry,
February
it is a
22nd
Monday.
is a Monday.
President's Day was February 15th.
all right, let's go do this again. Are you looking for a Monday? Is that what you're looking for?
I'm looking for
Wednesday.
a date that is on our scheduling sheet.
January 20th.
So the scheduling sheet, the first 2 months, January and February, is a little difficult because normally we do our meetings on Mondays, but because of the holidays, we're not able to do them because it's a holiday day. So
Oh.
we pushed one to a Wednesday, January 20th, and we pushed the other to the next Monday, February 22nd.
22nd? I'll make a motion
Oh,
for...
wait, before you do, please.
Okay.
Let's have a little discussion. That is the day we have 40 kids coming in, scheduled to come in.
February 22nd?
February 22nd, the New Horizon kids are coming in at 9 o'clock that morning. And that's the only day they can come in because that's a day of teacher workshop.
Okay, then we need to reschedule the February 22nd date to, probably, I don't know yet. But the February 22nd we would do it on the same day as city council, meaning we'd do it following the city
They're,
council day.
you know, if you do it at 8, I don't know how long this will take, but they're going to show up at 9 o'clock in the morning and probably be here till noon.
Can we attach it to a regular council meeting on a Wednesday?
That's what we're talking about.
January
It would be
20th.
February
What about
17th.
January 20th? It's a Wednesday. It's a meeting.
We
After the
could do it
meeting.
on the 17th.
Get done with it. Well, that's the way it goes.
So if we schedule that for February 17th, following the city council meeting, that would make sense. Or the January 20th, which is also following council. So then both are following council days.
Do we have any other zoning cases on February 17th yet?
I will not know yet until we get to, as we move further along, but I do have at least 2 cases that will be going for the January 20th date, possibly 3. So that was staff's concern. You're going to have your regular city council meeting, and once that concludes, then the zoning cases would continue thereafter, and we definitely have 2 scheduled. And based on the issues that come up, I don't know how long they will take.
Okay. Peter, you want to make a motion?
I think make a motion for
Yeah,
February
please. Whatever
17th
you
on a
wanna do.
Wednesday?
Whatever you want to do.
Wednesday, February 17th, if I'm hearing those are green lights, that's great.
So the motion is to continue this hearing to Wednesday, February 17th at our normal city council meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. Any more discussion?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Are we going to have a situation with someone that may not be here on February 17th because of the HIPAA rules?
I hope not.
Well, in all fairness to you, it would probably be better, in my opinion, for January the 20th, but
It
that's my
doesn't
opinion.
matter. It really doesn't matter to me, council.
Well, is February 17th okay with you at the moment?
At the moment, everything looks good, and I
Okay,
should be
good.
here.
All right.
And I do need a time specific. It can be following your council meeting, or we could start it at 9 a.m. and whenever the council finishes, whatever your preference, or we could have a time certain in the afternoon at, say, 1 o'clock.
I would say following the meeting. Does that sound good to you?
Okay with me.
So
Okay.
starting at 9
Yeah.
a.m., and then whenever we're done with the business, we'll proceed with that case.
Okay, so the motion is, we're going to continue this case till date certain, February 20? 17th? 17th, following the regularly scheduled city council meeting. Is that correct? You okay with it? You okay with a second? Have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilman Simmons,
Aye.
Councilman Gibson,
Aye.
Councilman Locker,
Aye.
Councilman McIntosh,
Aye.
Councilwoman Martin.
Aye.
Good, the motion passes. And please understand, everybody, we're trying to follow the law here and make it as available to public and staff as possible. It's not always easy to balance those things. Thank you, council members. Good decision.